Welcome to the Corey Shepherd Podcast. This is episode 23. Welcome back to all the... I can't welcome back the new listeners. Welcome to all the new listeners. Welcome back to everybody who's been listening. Reminder to subscribe to this podcast, whether you listen on Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, TuneIn Radio. Anywhere you listen, you can subscribe, like, and share. And remember that on the Cadence Club, you could find the link to all the old episodes and you could leave your comments there. It's always good hearing from you guys and what you think about the episodes. It's a pity sometimes by the time I finish an episode, I really can't remember what I talk about it. But it's nice for the reminders when I get calls or texts or comments about it. That is always nice. I hope everybody had a great week. And this week, it starts off a little slow, but somehow it get real action-packed, real fast. So before I get into the couture, this weekend was a good one for me because I was talking last week, I'm pretty sure I was talking about paranging and them kind of thing. And it was a fella in the Parang side birthday, a man named Scratch. Scratch is anybody from the valley knows Scratch, right? Anybody up, especially if you're from Simeon side and all from Majuba Crossroads going back, everybody knows Scratch up there. So it was Scratch birthday. So we went up River State by a friend of the side. Well, she's a member too, Marge. You know, a Parang side always has somebody who just bring the side together, and Marge is that lady. So we went by Marge up in Riverview or River State, whichever river it is. We went up there, and now we do the responsible thing. We wear we mask and we sanitize and we do the right thing. We kind of distance, but you know when music sort of plays, the distances start to decrease fast. But we do the right thing. And when I got, I was surprised to see. That's the thing with musicians too. When it's something for a musician, people will come out because I keep telling them, I say, I don't want to go in no gathering. I don't want to set up people. I want no problems. But when I reach there, I see about 3-4 man, 2 guitar man. Marac is a thing anybody just pick up a shack and play. So everybody have a shack and they knock it iron. We maintain a decent distance, but it was nice playing some music with some people in real. I really enjoyed that. So happy birthday to my guy Scratch. That was nice. And he's the only guitar man I know where every time you play, no matter where you play parang, you play soca, you play a sentimental, Scratch bust a string. I never see somebody bust a string like that. If you know about guitar and things, Scratches play with what we call a capo, right? That man is capo about 4 frets down, all the way down on the guitar. Man capo off and playing guitar and he tuning low. But anyway, I'm a boy and it was nice seeing him for your birthday. And another birthday over the weekend too. Now, this is not a birthday shout out kind of podcast. I salute my guy Andre Mills. But it's not a birthday shout out kind of podcast. But the people who I know as listeners and close family are talking about them. So give me 5 minutes. My uncle, this is my father's brother, a man named Carl Scramble. This weekend was Carl's birthday too. Like everybody birthday this weekend is Carl. So Uncle Carl to me, that's the man who, he's the first person who really show me how to play quattro and show me a little chord. And over the years, he always find a way. Even when I didn't want to learn and I ain't interested in it, he always pull me. He say, come, play this. Why ain't try that? Try this here. Try this strum. So play a chord here. He say, you see, between that D and that G, you could play a D7. And boy, listen. I was grateful for that now. I wasn't grateful at the time now because when Carl started to tell you a story, it had no end to that story. But it was really nice being able to celebrate his birthday, 70th birthday too. And just being able to talk to him and reason with him was a nice thing. It usually is something that we as a family would get together and play some music, but different times, right? So they do a Zoom party. I don't know if you all go into this Zoom party thing or if there's a regular thing. I guess it's a regular thing because you're seeing him Zoom like regular parties going on Zoom, but in the Corby family, we having some Zoom parties and it's the greatest thing you ever see. If you want a good little laugh, keep a Zoom party. Keep a little Zoom party for a 70th birthday party. Because Carl is sure if we hear him at one point my boy say, I'm talking here, but I don't know if nobody listening. So what you do for me? I can't see nobody. But when I talk, I want to only say and So everybody had to unmute their mic and say and thing with Carl. But it was nice. Just sharing little memories of the family. And, he had to play a little tune. My father had to play something. Everybody, that's just how the family is. So salute to these folks on their birthday. It's my guy Mills, is Scratch, the old guitar man. and scrambled it. Nice little birthday weekend. So outside of that, I spent time now. Last week, I was glad that I record. I usually record on a Monday, and as late as possible on Monday, so I didn't miss nothing. But I was glad last week to be able to record on Monday because then I didn't have to go and talk about these US elections, right? it just didn't come up yet. The voting start Tuesday morning. Well, the voting start any damn time in the US. It looked like you could vote whenever you want. So let me talk about it now, right? I blame my father for this, because I was playing my little Romy good. All I know he's come here and we play Romy and thing. And whatever night it was that they had the debate, I don't think it was the one with Kamala and how they call him? The Mumford. What do they call Mumford again? Pence. It would have been Biden and Trump. And my father is a man that sit down whole day and watch MSNBC. Because he was dead sure Trump wasn't getting elected. And he said he can't win no election. And then every day in that 4 years, Trump was the daddy saying, they're going to impeach him. Boy, you see what they find out about he and Russia, and you see what they find. It's every day they go impeach Trump. But so he ain't missing nothing where they're concerned. And while I played my little Romy, that man say, boy, we had to turn on the debate, we had to thing, and you had to follow. And I was like, turn on that debate. You know, I win a game after that. As he turn on that, I can't win at all. I hear these people talking. But I guess because of that, now I was deliberately not following the election because I just can't take too much of that Yankee thing. But I don't know how always make out with it for the people who living over there. I don't know how always deal with that every day now. But because I'm taking that now, and you know me, I like politics, but I don't like politicians too much. So I start to follow this thing now, boy. So by the time Tuesday come for the election, I invested. I want to know what happened. I want to know how this race going. To be honest with you, in my mind, I think I talked about it a little bit last week, but I really didn't think Trump could have lost because for the people over there, only living in a funny place. You don't know. I didn't think he could have won in 2016, so at that point, I say, boy, they can't beat him. So I now stay up the Tuesday night, but remember that the first thing I follow in this election is that debate, so I kind of never see there. I don't know what's going on. I don't know the affairs. I don't know the whole rules and what is happening. So I know here in the night of the election that they mightn't be able to declare no winner. And I say, but what is this? I don't understand. So I started to read up now while the numbers calling out on CNN. CNN is the best I could do because apparently the digital and them, I had digital cable here and them don't have no Fox News. I really want to see Fox and NBC and CNN. You know me, I like both sides of the stories. I'm trying to see all the different media houses, who Republican and who Democrat and all that. And I end up doing enough research within United to realize that the mail-in votes done start a long time. I never really understood what was this early voting system in the States. So I guess I have a little better appreciation for it now because you always used to hear about special electors and people who could vote early and absentee voting. And I guess my little frame of reference in Trinidad here is 6 o'clock in the morning, then you could vote until 6 in the evening. So all that early ballot and thing, but I get to understand it a little bit. But the whole map's looking red. And then men counting and it looking like Trump coming in, boy. So when Trump started coming in, certain people get quiet. A man named Brian Hiraman, somebody need to go and do a little wellness check on Brian, because I ain't hear from Brian since his election done. And I ain't hearing from Daddy at all. I started to call my father. He answering the phone. The man deep, concentrating on MSNBC, probably saying a little prayers to make sure. So I was up way too late last week, Tuesday night, watching every ballot box come in and every number and why this one's still red and why this one blue, but he can't win that. And I started to get caught up in the coverage of it. And you know what I find real interesting before we get to Biden winning and thing? I was watching BBC, and at that point, it was looking very much like a Trump victory. This must be 9 o'clock the night. Boy, them people in BBC them journalists basically attacking the Democrats. It's like, listen, only have a wildly unpopular president. He says racist and xenophobic things. He this and he that. And why y'all can't get your act together and get his man out of power? I say about BBC. BBC was in full attack mode. And somewhere in the middle of all that, your boy Trumpers just jump on the TV and say, hey, what's going on? We need to stop letting votes, stop the voting, because I guess Trump thought, no, people saying he said stop the count. I was listening to it at the time, and he said stop the voting, and almost immediately after that, all the media houses went and said stop the count. But I think what he was trying to say, right? He was trying to say all these votes that coming in still should stop coming in. And I wonder if this man was paying attention. Somebody had to explain to him how the electoral processes work, because me is so sure he had know it when he get elected that time. But somebody had to tell him, hey, it's have mail-in votes and that this and that account all and things. So, and I understood. I only learned that then too, but me running for president, I learned that you could mail in the ballot, and once the date that you mail it in by, like once the stamp or whatever it is saying the date on Tuesday, which is the election date, they have to count it, even if they get it today. But I don't like that too much now. But we can talk about that just now. I that makes me uncomfortable. But I don't know if Trump had know that or who explained what to Trump. But boy, maybe they should have explained it a little better. Because this man say, stop the voting now. Too much of voting going on. We win this election bigly. And I say, but what? What is this? And I see so much people in an uproar about Trump saying that. And I couldn't help but be reminded about how vexed people was with me when I say Rowley should not have gone and declared himself no winner before all the votes count. Now, the two situations hard to compare because Trump was making some spurious allegations and Rowley was not. Let me make that clear. Rowley wasn't saying anything about any trust in the process or nobody thieving no election and thing. But I stand where I stood in our local election, and I say that no politician should be allowed to come and make any statement like that before all the votes come in. And this is the reason why I find it is ridiculous to be able to do that. Count every single vote. You see this kind of thing where we have locally, because I don't really care about these Yankees, right? I say all this to make my point about Trinidad here. We have a tendency to say, Penal, Kamla lost that. Let me declare that early. I have a problem with that. I understand now how the count works, and if she's leading by a certain amount, and certain polling stations is generally UNC poll. I understand all that, right? And if the media want to go ahead and call a constituency, they should. Like the media. That come like me. I could say whatever I want here, and I could come back and retract and all this kind of thing, right? But the people who are running for the election, I don't know what, they should be a charge. If it was left up to me, it would be against the law for you to make a pronouncement on any election before the Election and Boundaries Commission. It is a dangerous practice. It is a dangerous practice. And we only accept it when we like the person who do it. You see, if Biden had come and say that, half the people I hear who anti-Trump, probably for good reason, they wouldn't have been in this uproar if Biden had come and say we declare. Because Biden again, let me make another distinction. Biden and Trump is two different animals. Animals they are, but two different animals. Because Biden come like a politician. I mean, he's a career politician, right? And Trump is not. And he did the diplomatic thing and say, well, we have to wait. We like our chances. It looks as if. I like that kind of language. Better you come and say, hey, this is what it is. And we feeling like if And I think they took a much more diplomatic stance. And I like that. I prefer that. I don't find these fellas they should be on TV at all. They let the whole election day finish before any one of them come on TV. Don't have no rally and no celebration thing. Because the democratic process is too important. If everybody's be behind me because I just say I don't vote, then all they agree that the democratic process is real important. If it's important, let me treat it as important now and let the Election and Boundaries Commission or whatever that group is in them states, let them be the people to declare a winner in any one seat. And if we want to say that by the time a certain percentage of votes come in, they can declare a winner. If that is a rule, fine. If they want to say that if these 4 polling divisions come in early and we know they win that, the next party can't win that traditionally. If we want to say that is the rule, fine. Whatever the rule is, let the EBC come out and say who win. Because when you like the candidate and they come out and they say they win early, you celebrate. But when you don't like the candidate and they come out and they say they win early, you don't expect the other person to say it's fraud. How you gonna know you win the election before the votes don't count? The person must say it's fraud. Anyhow, I stay up late and I watch Trump say that. And you know what's funny about that whole thing? Trump didn't take no questions, right? But Trump walk out after saying how he win, right? And how this and that and the other count and with the legal votes and all this thing. He said this was he won on Tuesday night, right? That man walk off that podium looking so defeated. That man almost bunks into the door when he walk in. And I say, oh man. At that point I realize, okay. Because, the pundits usually know, and the people who in the process, of course, usually know a lot better than me, who is an armchair man, as an armchair talker. They know what happened. So he wasn't even confident in his own response to that. And I mean, it showed when he went ahead and went and play golf and thing. And you see, even that, like the way, this is why I don't like politicians. I have a problem with politicians. And people who follow politicians is a hell of a thing. Because, again, I see on social media a big whole thing. Look, he playing golf, the election, this and that. And then I see Kamala Harris on a little a phone call saying, Joe, we did it. You're going to be the next president of America. And she looked like she was exercising or something. So she wasn't doing nothing official. But this is how we are with politics, you know what I mean? We see one side through rose-tinted glasses, which is dangerous. And we see the next one as the devil, which is equally dangerous to me. But again, who am I to talk? I don't vote, right? So you ain't supposed to have no opinion when I vote. But I don't know if is he plan if Trump plan to, what do you call it, concede or whatever he plans to do. But congratulations to Joe Biden. Congratulations to Kamala Harris. I personally look forward to seeing a more stable, even if it's just in the way they talk and the way they carry themselves in a diplomatic way. I'm looking forward to seeing a more stable White House. Trump is an unstable kind of dude. He say anything he feel. He do anything he want. He make up thing to say while he go along, and as much as I might knock up all that cannot be it. That can't be who we like. I don't even want to say like looking up to, but who we put up on a pedestal. Let me put it like that, right? One of the things I want to say about that too, as I congratulate them, is almost the exact same thing I said in our local elections here too. Sometimes we forget how to be gracious in defeat. You know what I mean? When you lose, it's not a nice thing when you lose to jump up and say, all the thief and all the thing, and in Pennsylvania, them thing, and this one in Georgia, although they say the man in Georgia is the Republicans who oversee the process, but he said thief like hell. He said, why 100%? The man say one thing come in overnight. 100% of the votes in Wisconsin went to Joe Biden. I ain't know true. I don't think it's true. But, it's not a nice thing to be a sore loser. Well, because you lose and your guy lost, because I follow Trump on Twitter and I've seen all his supporters talking about it and thing, and their sentiment now is that the Democrats thief the election and then fellow thiefing and who sending. I don't know how exactly they thief it, because when I hear the process again, it was very similar to what happened in our local election when they started to talk about the process and how fair it is. I found that the description of the process they were talking about across the states was, it's sung real fair. I even said in our local election that we should have, we should stream when they're doing things like counting or voting. And they said several states had that. You could log in and see the count process. And they had the observers, as we typically have with the election. So to lose and come out and imagine you lost something, instead of just coming out and say, boy, congrats, boy Joe, congrats, Kamala, you do a good job. I try my best, come out and tell your supporters, boy, listen, one America. Let's put our support behind our new president. We fight a good election. I didn't have confidence in him. I didn't think he was a guy, but if you all feel he's a guy, and most of us feel so, let's roll and rally your supporters behind him. Instead of doing that, you're going into a long thing about who thief and who this and who that and who that. No, I'm saying that to the people who win this year too. Because the people who win this year in the States, you remember what happened when Trump win? When Trump win, the men and them spend the whole 4 years saying Trump thief the election. he went Russia and he had collusion and he get China and Facebook thief with it. Listen, this is not the way to lose. When you lose, be gracious in defeat. That's all I say. And listen, Democrats and people who supporting Biden and them, they ain't gonna like that I say that, but it's the truth. Because they went on and on about this thing with Russia. Nobody, the whole thing, how much of it is proven? Was Trump impeached? Did he make a jail? I don't know. So don't be too upset when Trump say no, that he going to get lawyers and he going to think, and Trump is going to spend the whole 4 years, I guarantee you, trying to bring down the Biden administration. But that is, again, this is why I don't like politics. And I don't like politicians. It's extremely self-serving, because the same way I'm saying now that Trump lost, and what he should do is say, hey, guys, good fight. Or they beat me up, and that was the end of that. You know, they call boxers together, and then you referee hold one hand up, and then they hug it out and thing. That's how politics should be. But I mean, if there's a whole Russia and a this and a that coming off 4 years ago, what do you think he would say? And this is the problem. When we're doing things like that, we don't see it, because we like the guy. We like the guy. So when we like the guy and the guy lose, we tend to find all kind of reasons why the guy lose. The other person had to cheat, right? So only don't be too hard on the Republican supporters when they're coming up with all kind of theories about how Biden saved the election. Just remember who you were 4 years ago. But let's move on from that, right? I don't want no Yankee problems and no Yankee smoke in these streets. I just want to ask, where's Mike Pence? Where's Mike Pence? I've not seen Mike Pence in a long time. And then, like minutes before recording this, I see Pfizer. They're saying Pfizer have something resembling a COVID vaccine. They're saying Pfizer on the cusp, or they have found a COVID vaccine. I hope that's the case. And Mike Pence, after having said nothing over the last week, Mike Pence seems to be taking a little bit of credit for being the one who worked with, I don't know if he come up with it, if he's a doctor himself, but boy, Pence, go and tell Kamala congratulations, or it'll be big boys. I see somebody say that on one of the media houses. It's time to put on your big boy pants. Come on now. You went to fight the election, everybody fight, the election was fair. If the election wasn't fair, you shouldn't be in power in the first place. So, all the fight and then go and tell people congrats, no man. I mean, come on now. How this could be the first step into leadership. How this going to be, you know, because this is my difficulty too. People might think that when you elect somebody, they are the leaders, but even the people who lost, they're still leaders in the society. And I mean, this guy, all right, no more Yankee smoke. What else I had to say about Trump here, boy? Oh, the election process in the States. One more thing. You see this thing where every state have a different thing? I wonder if there couldn't be a way where they have a universal process that controlled at the federal level. I find that it's so odd that every single state have a different process in terms of the voting and when votes counted. And it's the same point I always make, elections, they must pass the smell test. You have to be fair, because if it is, let me put it this way. There's great benefit to corrupting an election, right? There's enormous benefit if you could figure out a way how to get an election bought so that you guarantee a winner. But that would be real detrimental to the whole society and the well-being of all of us in the long run. So I always feel like the more you could do to make it transparent, the better. So I don't understand why, and maybe somebody can help with that. I don't understand why every state is allowed to have its own process for elections, especially presidential elections. Why would there not be a federally controlled standard system of election? So to just eliminate some doubt. Forget whose side you're on now, right? Just think about the process and the system. The more transparent it is, the better it will work for you and for the person you're supporting. So I don't know, maybe they will do that, but I feel like America should never call we no third world country and thing again, and stop saying the things like third world, because we just do an election and do it in the same day. And Trinidad are the same amount of people as the States, right? So talking about election, let's talk about some other things. Wait, no, I want to talk about, I stayed in America for a little while longer, I get into Trinidad, I promise only. But Dave Chappelle is a genius. Dave Chappelle is a genius, and not just a genius because he's come up with the most amazing content and ways of putting things, but he's a genius for showing up on Saturday Night Live. I'm sure this was booked before, right? But what was real good about this is when Trump was elected, Dave Chappelle had made his last appearance on SNL. And I really like what Dave Chappelle said then. Now, the whole thing, look for this on YouTube for me, right? And I'll see if I can link it on the YouTube videos. I can't play that here, right? But when Trump got elected in 2016, I don't know if it's coincidence, but Dave Chappelle happened to be on SNL at that time. And if the monologue was 15 minutes, usually is about 15, 16 minutes, right? Almost 12 of them minutes was spent talking about police violence. This is long before George Floyd. This was 2016. BLM and everything was already there, and he spoke about it. But he was talking about the police brutality and stuff. Remember that this would have been when Obama was leaving. So he came on and he talked about it and stuff. And he basically said we will miss Obama and all that. And I mean, you can't paraphrase Dave Chappelle. This is something you had to listen to, right? But he ended his monologue by saying Trump is the president, and he basically want to give him a chance. Let's see how he does. And he's like, listen, we man now come in power, let's give him a chance. And I also want him to give poor and disenfranchised people a chance too. That's how he ended that monologue. I remember how many people wanted to cancel Dave Chappelle because all of a sudden, the next morning, the paper said Dave Chappelle supports Donald Trump, which there was nowhere in that monologue he said that. And it was about canceling him and this and that. So in other words, when you should never say anything about Trump, or don't say nothing then. Unless you're on our side, you're out of here. And that's the same kind of thing I'm talking about with this election. Is like, be gracious in defeat. I also say like don't be a sore winner. Be humble in your victory. And he said Chappelle happened to say that same thing in his monologue this time. So I think SNL was brilliant. They had to give him credit for booking him for Saturday night. And they were lucky too that some kind of declaration of the election came just on Saturday itself. So he could have done his monologue with that fresh on people's mind. They say it's one of the highest viewerships they ever had, people tuning into it. Because I think people want to hear what Dave Chappelle would have said at that point. And I'm thinking, listen, if this is the same Dave Chappelle, if all I had cancelled him, what would happen? No, but anyway. He came out and he talked about how, the basically same things under Trump and stuff. Watch it, right? Don't take my word for it. But some things he said this time was so powerful, boy. Like he said, like, I can't talk about a serious issue unless it have a punchline behind it. He can't tell the truth without a punchline. That's a heavy statement for somebody like him. Because I remember, and I spoke about it here, where he was doing the thing on George Floyd, where he talked for a while. It wasn't jokes. It was just talking about how brutal the thing was to watch. And then he went on to say, like where I said about being a humble winner, because he was saying, remember what it felt like when I was on SNL last time, when Trump was elected, and mostly Democrats talking to in the audience who are feeling away, feeling defeated, they're feeling cheated, they're feeling, you understand? We had to keep in mind that half of America feeling that way right now too. It's not enough to just watch that half of the people and say, because only support Trump, only was racist. Come on. But that is not enough. I'm not saying they didn't have racist people who support Trump. Or Trump, I remember like when you look at what Trump was doing and saying, or refusing to condemn the white supremacist groups and so on, all that, even with that being said, you want to tell me that anybody and everybody who vote Republican, half the states, we just dismiss them as being right? I don't like that. It's the same argument I was having with somebody online last week, where because I say something about DSS, I don't like black people. Come on now. Them things can't really work. So I think it's better for Chappelle to talk about them things, because he know how to put them words together and, like he say, put a punchline behind it. Because when you try to say it without a punchline, people just get real upset. But when he put the punchline, people laugh. And I think Dave Chappelle have the unique ability to make us laugh at ourselves. To kind of laugh at your own position sometimes, and it forces you to relax your own position and maybe just accept some of your own biases and not fight yourself against them or fight anybody with your biases and all that. And in the end of his monologue, he closed off by saying, yeah, he was basically saying people feel the same way we feel and stuff. And he keeps saying, like, come for these nigger lessons. Boy, it's such a, when you had to listen to it, but he basically trying to say that, hey, maybe you're starting to understand how I feel and where life expectancy among white people is dropping because of our drug epidemic, people on heroin and drugs like that, and high rates of suicide. So he basically trying to say, and he's been saying it in some specials now, like when black people were on cocaine and it was just like, just say no. Or crack, they had the crack epidemic going through the hood, no doubt engineered in many spaces. But it was like, basically like, get over it, just say no and lock you up forever. And now the sentiment changed because it happened to the majority, the white majority. So the sentiment changed. Now imagine drugs when crack was something to get you off the streets and beat you brutally. Now it's about therapy and counseling and helping you with addiction and all them things. And I mean, it's what it is. So that's about the fifth time I say I'm done with America, right? But I think I'm done now, right? That's the end of that. So elections. I talk about your own local thing now. Go get back to TNT, sweet TNT. UNC election coming, right? It's a next little piece of entertainment coming down here, because imagine I getting to see, now Kamla Prasad Bisesa, give credit to her, I was knocking her all the time, saying that you're not calling election, what was happening to the party, you lost several elections back to back. And funny enough, the person who leading the charge of this call for Kamla to call elections or to step aside or to resign is none other than Devon Maraj. I only remember Devon Maraj. I used to make joke and call him Deviant Maraj. And I thinking, what a life in politics when a man like Devon Maraj is taking the moral high ground over Kamla Prasad Bisesa. And if you can remember, right, go back to just Google Devon Maraj and issues he would have had while he was a minister. I think he was Minister of Food Production and he was Minister of Transport. And his name was swirling around in an airport authority thing. And I don't want to say too much because these people like to send letter, but I just saying that for he's a bit the one taking the moral high ground now. And like in the beginning of COVID, I remember he has something called DNN, Devon News Network, I suppose. And he was real upset with the government for not allowing him. I find they should have given the thing, yes, to come as a media house on the in the COVID, the questioning, every day after the briefing, they take questions. The DNN tried to fall in, but apparently, I don't know if he not registered as a media house or what. But I mean, when you look at Devon Maraj on Facebook and stuff, it's amazing that, the moral high ground people take to be pronouncing on what other people should be doing. That's always my issue, My issue is not so much what you do with your life and whether you do right or wrong. I find the pronouncing on other people and telling other people what to do is be so, it's something hard to watch. And none other than Vasant Bharat is the man going against Kamla Prasad Bisesa. And Vasant Bharat, I wondering if people remembering. I see, I think I was talking to somebody today about I have this theory, right? Where I find when you pass a certain age, you shouldn't make jail again. I don't like to see old people lock up. When you're old, like I remember seeing me and daddy talk about all the time, where Pandey was trying to come out of the car and boy, the man face grimace so much to go down in that car and come out of the car. When you pass a certain age, jail for you, man. I find, your sins could be forgiven. We should work out something like that in the judicial system where anything beyond 65, you see how you can retire at 65. After 65, forgive that man his sins, man. If you commit a new crime, we could try it. But if it's before 65, let that man live out his retirement. But anyway, when you look at Devon Maraj now, maybe his age and the way he's talk smooth and he's like, Mr. Bell, Mr. Rowley, and it's kind of decisive. Maybe it's that the way he's talk and he have a kind of, he have a style, the way he's look and thing, he have a droopy kind of style looking. He just look unthreatening and unassuming in his time now. But I wonder if people remember when Devon Maraj was in charge of National Flour Mills. I remember that. This man has so much to say about that now, boy. Is amazing about Kamla and this and that and who unfit. And I thinking, you fit. You know what I mean? Because I remember $30 million worth of rice. I don't know if I remember that rice deal, no? Or some of y'all might be too young to know it. Just Google it. Just Google Vasant Bharat 30 million. It will come up. $30 million worth of rice. A trade deal. Man went to India. Bilateral trade happened. Rice supposed to come Trinidad. Well, rice end up on the port. It end up on the port in Barbados. They say it's a weevil. That's a spready thing. I don't know if the rice reach or if it's ever reached. And people started to say, well, it's dog rice. I think he eventually loses his job in an FM or resign or something like that due to that. I remember Colonel, me and my partner Colonel. Everywhere I go and eat with Colonel, that time with that rice situation. Listen. Because I guess the thing was that they ordered $30 million worth of rice. I can't imagine how much rice that was back then. I don't know if we ever get any of the rice, and the rice went missing, basically. And because of reports coming all about, I guess it's stuck on the port here, stuck on the port. They honestly said the rice had weevil and was stale and this and that and whatever it was. But everywhere I went with Colonel King during this time, and we eating something, we go on by thing, we go on and we get something to eat. As we start to eat, that man stop and the eye open big. He's like, did the Indian rice? I was like, man, just eat it right. Everything is Indian rice for that man. But I don't know if the rice ever came or what it was. But what I know is that Vasant Bharat is now looking to take on the helm of the UNC, and I guess nobody talking about our rice or nobody talking about his past transgressions, because when I see people commenting on it on Facebook, I actually saw one guy say, such an honest person as far as, and I mean, maybe the man honest, yes, because I don't know what he do with the rice. I don't know what he do with the 30 million. So maybe that whole rice thing was an honest mistake, but I just find, let me just put that back on the front burner too. Let me just don't let that die off, and don't come to claim this, that, and the third, because they never really answer questions about the rice and where it went and thing. But again, I don't want to letter. I'm trying to avoid. I want to stay clean. I don't mailbox, and I don't want anybody to drop off nothing for me. But this week too, I guess it's the US election and the whole hype of it. Kamla Persad had, as any good opposition leader should do, sent out her congratulations to Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. I find that's good. The people announced a winner in an election in a country that we do trade with and we in regional blocks with, and it's such an important country to our own well-being and survival that it would make sense for our opposition leader to send out a congratulatory note to the new, or what they call them, president-elect. To the president-elect of the United States. I find it was such a good move. But boy, the internet is moved fast. They're moving quick in this country. I don't know who is doing this fact-checking or who doing this searching. I don't know if Vasant and the team just waiting for people to make a mistake so they could publicize it, or if his rollers and his squad, they just have a constant Kamla monitoring committee going on. But it came quick. Word is that Devon Maraj is the first man who spot it and who share the thing and who do the side by side. Now make what you will of that, right? You have a political enemy, and he's the first person to spot the man, I guess, Sir Keir Starmer, that he write the same thing earlier and you'd use that same. Now, I went and Googled Sir Keir Starmer, right? Because I expected to see some kind of outrage from him saying, hey, a big opposition leader in a country in the Commonwealth, take my post and just, I saw nothing. Like, I don't know if he know this happening at all. Somebody in England want to find out from him for now, because he don't seem to know that this is going on at all. But apparently it's a big scandal. This is reported all over the region. And it leads me to wonder. Because I seriously doubt that Kamla, and I hope not, that Kamla Persad Bissessar is not sitting down to write no memo of exactly what is to be said to congratulate Joe Biden on an election win. I think not, right? So I would assume that she have a social media team or somebody who writes in these things for her. I would assume as well that as a leader herself, a good leader, she would have gone through what was written and just approve what was written. Now, again, if they bring that to Kamla, I'm pretty sure they would have done that, because I wouldn't think that somebody in her position will not sign off at least or approve whatever messages people sending out, right? I also don't think that if you have somebody who doing that, that's your voice going out there. So I would also think that you trust the person who doing that on your behalf. No, no, the thing that make it funny, right, is I don't expect her to know that. So what the man name again? Starmer. I don't know who this man is. I mean, I don't know if I should, but I don't know who he is. I don't know if Kamla should know who he is, but I don't know if she knows who he is. But I doubt she would go as far as to check what he tweet every time she put out something that's pretty specific. Like, why would she go on Twitter to check? I mean, maybe, like, what I do when I correct students' papers? They have these things like Turnitin, right? They're supposed to check for plagiarism. I don't even use Turnitin. When I see a student write something and it's songing, I say the songing, this ain't songing like a student come up with this on their own. I just copy a piece of the paragraph or a couple lines and I just put that in Google. And wherever that was before, that thing has come up. And then I send the student and I was like, Papi, I see this on Wikipedia. You want me to report this or you want to send in a proper draft? Well, let me know what to do because you'll get through the university. So I don't know if Kamla was doing that or what. Well, clearly she didn't do that. But I would assume that she checked the thing and what she do is read it. She say, right, this song is good. This song is like it coming from me and let me roll. Let's go. And then people put that out. I want to know how Devon Mirage, he do the Turnitin thing out. Why did you suspect that this was printed elsewhere? Or published elsewhere? Why did you suspect that this was a tweet from somewhere else? Because I could tell you, right, when I working with students, and I might know the student, for instance, I'm in class with them all the time and know the level of work. And when I see the work, I say, nah, something in right here. Or sometimes the student express at a bachelor's level a clarity of thought and a level of opinion that I would expect from a master's student. So sometimes I would just, copy a little piece, put it in and see. Sometimes I'm wrong and sometimes the person thing, and I might ask them, I was like, hey, you do really well here. This is well thought out. I was stopping short asking them if somebody help you with this or you do your own paper. But, I could see it after some experience. So I just put in a question out there. What did Devon Mirage see in that release, which is sterile? It is anybody in the world could write a release like that to say, congratulations, look forward, blah, 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 blah. Nothing special about it. You were suspicious about that, Devon? And you went and Googled it? Or did you know the people on Kamla's the people on the team and all you plot up something? You have a mole inside there that I don't know. The Lord himself got to come and tell me that he didn't know that was going on. You so good, you such a crack shot that a random post saying congratulations to somebody, you so quick. Now the thing about it, make it even funnier. The thing got popular when Devon posted. It's almost like I didn't know Kamla Prasad Bisesa had said anything about congratulating Biden or anything. The first time I see it was when Devon Mirage, when it was shared and started to go wrong online. So if it is in fact Devon Mirage who saw it first and shared it, which is what it seems like from his Facebook page, I want to know how you so sharp, boy. You must come and help me correct papers. You know how long it take me to correct a batch of papers to see if someone plagiarize and think you must come and give my hand, man. Since over in media and think I kind of feeling like I was part of the media fraternity and think you must come and give my hand, man. Something ain't right. Something stinks in the state of Denmark. That's how they say it. That's how white folks say it. Something is rotten in the state of Denmark. It ain't right. And then it feel as though, right? Let me go back to Kamla now, right? The people hijack something. It had no other way to say it. That I don't know if that plagiarism or nothing. You copy and paste the thing and put it as what I say. You put me in an embarrassing position, right? But it almost seemed as though she went back to the same people who make their posts to come up with the apology. Instead of you do nothing with them again. It looked like themselves write the apology. Because the thing came out from her saying it was an administrative error. Well, it's one of the best I hear. It's a classic. And I want to put it out there now. Anytime I say anything about anybody on this podcast and I get in trouble, I want it to be known this is an administrative error. This was an administrative error on behalf of the management team of the Corey Shepherd podcast. I ain't taking responsibility for nothing. No way. If the last prime minister we had before, only the woman says administrative error. So who is me? Why I must go and claim and come and apologize for thing? Admin error. So I trying to figure out, but what exactly is the admin error? You make a mistake and copy and paste. What? It was a ridiculous response. And I guess eventually, like I saw at some point, they come and they say it was plagiarism. They apologized to, what do you my name? Stammer. Let me call your name wrong now, you know? But they apologized to him and they apologized. You know, the post came out apologizing to Kamla. They say, we would like to apologize to Ms. B. Cecil because them men say what was supposed to be a draft. So they said they copied that. And the idea was to give them ideas for how to do a congratulatory message. And that was supposed to be, that was part of what was forming a draft. So that was the starting point for a congrats message and thing. And then they make a mistake and they send that out. And boy, listen, I just hope she clean up her team around her and stuff. Look for who's setting you up. Because something ain't right in the equation. Something not right for somebody to see that we sharp. But I don't know if we're so sharp to find out. You know, the thing about it is, if it was, let's say, Obama or somebody extremely prominent had written that, and then somebody else see it, I would have said that. But nobody in Trinidad didn't read no Starmer congratulatory message to be able to identify that so fast. I ain't buying that. Something ain't right there. So I hope she find a way out of that. And you know, the thing about it is, it's funny what has become a big story in this country. Because when I see it at first, my first thought was, oh God, the social media team went and copy and paste something. Somebody went and copy and paste it, and it became a whole embarrassment for the woman. At no point I felt like it's a thief and I really wasn't thinking all that. I was just saying, hey, somebody in the social media department, they done messed up. It's just as simple as that. And you know, the thing is, I think anybody who are accustomed to social media and how it works and all that, everybody clearly saw what that was. But boy, this thing make an uproar. Because of course, your boy Vasant, he had to hold on to that. He's like, with him singing, I'm the beside so she put up this supposed to know. But it's like, I think it is not. And of course, the PNM put out a statement and then thing, and this thing is in all the regional papers and everything. But in my mind, I was thinking, well, if this was me, I would have I'm not using that company or person for social media again. You can't do me that. You can't put something out there in my voice. And you know you copy and paste. There's no mistake being made there, no draft and all that. But it was our one overall. But we misspeak via social media and things. So, I mean, she'll survive. But you're not above these jokes, so... Our little song I dedicate to Kamla Pasad B says, oh, administrative error. You hear lie? That is lie. Lie. You hear lie. Teacher Percy say if you tell a lie, you're going to hell as soon as you die. And if it's Devon Mirage who say he just happened to come across that post and he noticed the similarity between Starmer post and Kamla post. Lie? That is lie. Lie. You hear lie. Teacher Percy say if you tell a lie, you're going to hell as soon as you die. Teacher Percy say if you tell a lie, you're going to hell as soon as you die. I ain't even want to play no song for Devon Mirage. Let me play a song for him. Rice? That is rice. Rice. You get rice. $30 million worth of the rice. And if you eat it, it go taste real nice. Lie? Alright. Enough is enough. What we moving on to? A man this week. No, and it's one a strange one, because when I see the thing, from the time I see the thing going around, I say, well, alright, this done happen already. And I had to talk about it on the podcast. But by the time I come to talk about this fellow, I say that go be all over the news and it go be stale by the time we reach here. Only to my surprise that I can't find this thing in none of the newspapers and not seeing it being discussed online. So it went around for a little while, But that was about it. So it had me nervous now. I wondering if I should talk about it at all. Because alleged, let me go in Ian Allen mode. Allegedly, a recording was made that went around on social media, allegedly by somebody who working in a doctor's office. And allegedly the doctor himself is going on a rant. He was upset. I frightened to play this and not being honest, because I don't know why the big media houses not carrying this, and them fellas have big lawyer and thing and money to pay when things go wrong and retraction to do one thing, and I can't sleep all week if I get a letter from anybody about anything. So maybe I'll do a reenactment of this voice note or call, because the man basically call what appeared or allegedly to be his secretary or somebody working in his office and saying, I know you recorded me now, but I don't care. And basically going on to say that the patients and them racial. And listen, it's to be honest with you, when I listen to the person talking, that man sound like he has some proper gazoo up in him. He tight. You know when you're having a few, the speech a little loose. But he say the patients and them racial. And he don't want no black people coming in the office. First he was going on about police. He said, why you bringing this policeman in the office who don't look good? People don't like them police. And I trying to figure out what is happening here. And she clearly know how he's talking things. She recording it for a reason and she making sure he say what he had to say. But she didn't have to do much coaxing now. Because the man basically saying all them police ignorance and dotish and all them, they feel like because they are gun, they are power, all them power, he's a multi-millionaire, and them police, and I thinking about what manner of man is this? What is wrong with you? Why are you talking like this? Why are you so loose? And I'm thinking like this, I employee, there's somebody who working by you, you're talking to and about like this. And listen, all I had to get his voice note from somebody else, because I'm not sharing it. I'm not playing it on this podcast. I don't want no smoke coming up to this Christmas season here. I want all my money in my bank. I want to be paying no legal fees for nothing. But the man allegedly, who is a doctor, I'm going to say allegedly a lot. The man going on and on, and he's like, he don't want no black, he don't hire no black people. As a matter of fact, if you have a resume, from now on, tell them send a picture. Because the one named Charles, I don't know if Charles is Indian or if Charles is Negro, but it's sounding more like he could be Negro. And I thinking, but what manner of man is this? Where he come from? How you so brave to be able to talk like that on a recording, knowing that you're being recorded? The man open by saying he being recorded. How you have so much belly to continue like this? And boy, listen, I don't know. Like I tell you, he's sounding like he powder. So me don't know if it's that or what. But he went on, and this thing was so just vile, especially when you're thinking if the person allegedly is a doctor, is like, why are you talking like this? All the thing you study and thing, and you seeing patients, and what going on with you? And I see people are saying on social media or going around via WhatsApp. So if this is a doctor and you went by him, like you say he racial, he said the patient's racial, he said he ain't racial. But the patients and them racial. But he squeezing a couple niggas there quick. And who this and who poor and who dotish and who thing and who ain't can have nothing and all these kind of things. So, I mean, you make away out of that. But how you treat patients when they come by you? What's the situation? If I black and I by you, was it seen? This bad injection time or going on? Like I always remember about that Joel on the podcast a couple of weeks ago. And Joel, there was one time I went and visit Joel in the hospital. And Joel, it was nice to see him. Everything good, right? He was cool, everything. He in good spirits and everything. And Joel told me a story about some people coming in the hospital, I guess. And he say one guy come in like a gangster and police and thing, and they handcuff him up and everything. And he say he ain't settling down at all. He say he fighting the police. There was a scene on the ward. There's a little excitement on the ward while you're there, right? And he say eventually the doctor come down, and he say as the doctor regimen calm down, he's like, Doc, listen, I don't want to disrespect you, because I know it's one bad injection and it's over. All the police and thing are gone, he ain't afraid that, but he's studying the bad injection the doctor could give him. So I don't know, when you're a doctor and you're talking like that about people openly, When I come by you for a flu shot, suppose Pfizer get he the COVID vaccine, I in trouble if I go there. What you gonna do if you sort of like black people? What you gonna do when black people come by you, boy? And then as your next recording come out now, that is allegedly his wife. What I could piece together of the conversation, it might be the wife of the alleged doctor that allegedly called the same person who recorded to basically abuse the girl or the woman. Now, I ain't defending this girl who record that night. I was always taking issue with people who record you unbeknown to you. Apparently, Gary Griffiths is the only person that no issue with that. He know he was being recorded. But it's always been tricky for me, the way you're recording people for if they know recording you. But this woman went on to say, so you went and make him sign, I think what it was, boy, it was vacation leave or some sick leave or something. And she was going on and on about how, and listen, screaming on the phone. Well, why you do that? I don't tell you I cannot get it signed already. Why you went by him to sign it? And this woman knows she recorded the lady to her. So she's just like, well, yes, well, I had to do that because he told me to come and, why you lying? Why? And listen, I thinking this is our office. They're like people working as adults. Everybody working here and thing. And I'm even going as far as to say, you always like to run by the labor board. and I thinking, boy, listen, some people go Paul luck and see Paul luck, Because I mean, we had issues and thing in work where we had to go, the labor board call us over issues with employees and thing. I'd be so humble. I don't want nobody carry me by labor board. I try and do the right thing. And when labor board call, I say, listen, how are we going to resolve this? Like, try and fix this issue. People entitled to go by the labor board for any issue they want. And if they feel they need to go there, it's probably protection they need. But boy, she wasn't having that, no? And they seem to not respect any of that. And I mean, I guess that's how he has become a multi-millionaire, allegedly. The man say, your father is a pauper. He say, your father can't do me now. Your father is a pauper. He's a multi-millionaire. I think people talk like this. But what I find really strange about it is that nobody seemed to be, this didn't seem to make it past any editor. I don't know if it make it to the news houses at all, but I didn't see it in much place. I heard Rachel Price talking about it on the radio. She's not one to hold back at all. But other than that, I wasn't hearing this on any of the popular radio stations or anywhere. So I don't know what I mean, but it make me kind of frightened to talk about it. So I just go and pretend like none of this happened. And any letter I get, I tell you, I'm going back and delete that whole part. I don't want no smoke and I don't want no problems. So let me go back to why I do best now. I feel it's better I just talk about myself and forget all this kind of thing about these politicians and politics. I know what else happened in politics this week that we're talking about or getting into. So let me just talk about myself. This week, I was back in the mode of looking at my son doing this homeschooling. And I'm thinking to myself, listen, I wonder what we would be like in our era if we had to do online school. Because I really enjoy giving real trouble in school. And it's one of the best, they say school days is the best days. Like, I keep seeing my son, like, his teacher doing a good job, because he goes through the lesson and everything, but he encourages them during the break and during lunch and everything not to go on a next device. You go outside and you ride your bike and thing. And it's a part of it kind of sad. Like, the more he doing it, is the more sad. Like, I feel for their generation. Because we used to do the schoolwork and thing, and then during the break, you're lining with your friends, you're going in the cafeteria, you're looking for a little fight. I talk in secondary school now, you're looking for a little fight, it's just so much a part of our upbringing and who we are and the way we were raised and thing that this idea of, I mean, he's literally go out lunchtime and ride his bike by himself. It's so, it's kind of sad, but I mean, they don't have anything to compare it to. It's just what it is for them, but when I compare it to my school days, it was something else. Like, you remember when lunch bell ring, how you used to form your little clique. Sometimes people are sitting down next to you in class, then you're squad. So you're cool with the person who's sitting down next to you and who are wrong and thing. But when bell ring lunchtime now, you now get to roll with a little crew and do all you do. You're gone. In my Fatima days, I don't know what to call that, a small cafe, not even a cafeteria. We had a food mall opposite Fatima on the Fatima ground side. When you go over there, you could head by a man named Skinner. That's the first man you see when you cross the road by Fatima there. Skinner and his son used to go Fatima too, his son used to run and thing. Skinner selling tacos. I wonder why like tacos wasn't even such a popular thing. I wonder why they choose them tacos to sell with. And you could buy these like tortilla chips, like I don't know if that's tortilla chips like Doritos or Ole and thing. He used to make his own pack with chips, and then he put some little beef meat. I don't know what kind of meat that thing. That couldn't be no beef now. Come in to think about it. What the hell you get that meat, boy? But he used to put that little meat down in the pack, a little see-through pack, yeah. And he put a little ketchup and mustard and salsa and thing down in now. Now how much he used to sell that for back in the day too, but I can't remember. And they used to make like the soft tacos too. But boy, it's in some Mexican, you know, because the thing about kind of curry potato going in it. But you know, remember them days like when you used to just all schools would have that. Of course, Fatima was the best one. But all schools would have had stories like them where you could go by the little not the school cafeteria now, the little vendors around. So they had Skinner, then they had it had a man named Orlan. Anybody who know Fatima remember Orlan? And you know the thing about Orlan now, Orlan is still sell pies. Not laughing at these sell pies, but just Orlan's a good dude. But you still see Orlan down by Independence Square and Broadway. Not Independence Square and Broadway, Broadway and South Key. That's a real thing. Like the corner opposite City Gate. Where it have, I think it's have a jewelry store or something on that corner. But Orlan is be outside is still selling the pies, so it's always nice to pass and see Orlan. Orlan is a man who used to stand up outside. He's like, beef or cheese, beef or cheese, beef or cheese. I don't think I ever hear Orlan say nothing else but beef or cheese in his life. And I think what else they used to have over there, boy? They used to have doubles. They used to have, you know, you must have somebody selling the red mango and the plum and this and that. And that was a lady named Miss Reg, boy. Miss Reg was it's amazing how them people influence your life. Well, like, she was not a teacher or she wasn't responsible for the boys in Fatima or anything like that, but she was such a motherly figure to all of us, boy. Just kind of looking out for us and, you know, talking to us when she see us. You know, you're out of school now, you're doing a little thing, you're taking little chances, and she always have a word of encouragement to give you and something. She might have passed away now, God bless her soul. But some people who just not forget. And you form a bond with them, like almost like a teacher in the same way, you know, Miss Reg, boy. And her husband used to sell juice, Mr. Reg. So it's Miss Reg and Reg. You go and buy a Reg juice, but Reg only selling orange and fruit punch, and you mix up that orange and that. What Reg selling, they had nothing to do with juice. Nothing about that orange juice come from an orange. You know, it's heavy Kool-Aid Reg selling, but it's like $1 for a small cup and $2 for a big cup in Reg juice. And it's just the same thing with Reg, you know. Reg is a man, Reg never used to say nothing. But I remember a few times, like, where fight and thing concerned, like big fight break out, and sometimes we fight with compliment and thing. And it's Reg who used to get in between there, you know. It's like such a protector, boy. When you know, I guess you see enough generations of boys pass through as they older and wiser, and they know that you might be getting a little trouble, you might be this and that, but they know overall is good boys and they want the best for you. You know, really, really genuine people. So it kind of make me like reflect on the way my son doing this online school, make me reflect on all these experiences I had in Fatima. It was such a whole experience. I'm up like I said, what I'm trying to say. It wasn't just the schoolwork, and I find it so hard to foster that type of environment in the online world. Because I mean, I guess the friendships there, like the teachers leave the Zoom call on during the break, and you hear the students laughing and talking with one another, but it's not the same. It's not the same. Like, even going back to Newtown boys for me, like they used to have this woman who used to sell Polori. It's 10 cents. It is like 10 cents for a Polori. You get 10 Polori for $1. And you could literally buy, like, if you had 25, so you buy 2 Polori. And boy, listen, there's real memories, you know, boy, because there was a woman in Newtown, boy. And listen, this is the old Newtown boys. This is not the building that you're passing and seeing on Marval Road now. Some of us wouldn't remember the old Newtown boys, a old, like, almost colonial style looking building. And there was a lady who used to sell downstairs, and we used to call her the lady. I don't think anybody I don't know what's her name. She was just the lady. And it was a funny thing with her, boy. She used to sit down, picture somebody with a little table, a meek a meek little old lady, red skin, like Paramount red skin. And she used to sit down on this table, like facing this wall. And when I think of it now, like so much of things she used to sell on this little table, but the table couldn't be more than 2-3 feet wide, but she had all kind of thing under the table on top. And you know, when at that age, in primary school age, it's sweetie and lollipop and paradise plum and them thing. You remember, you used to buy 5-cent sweetie. And we used to line up. So picture her on this table, but she facing the wall. So she have the table against a wall. And she facing the wall. And little boys line up on the left side of her and on the right side of her. And she was so soft-spoken. And she used to turn to the right. And she say, yes, what you want? And you say where you want something. And you give her a little money. And she take that. She gave away. She moving slow. And she gave what you want. And sometimes you're in front of the line and you're on the right side. And this man on the left side now come and order 8 plum. And she had to count out this 8 plum. That is your whole break time or your lunchtime gone. This woman counting out this 8 plum. And then when she counts out the 8 plum, she gain a little clear bag. Now he pay money and he gone. She turns so slow. This woman turning around slow. And when she turned, you can't hustle this woman. You dare not hustle her. And in primary school, you have maximum respect to her. And she used to turn slow and she say, yes, what you want? And you pay her and get a little thing. And I was just reflecting on all this today. I know how I reach quite here, but I was reflecting on all this today because school experiences is so much more than just the work you learn in the classroom, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Because I don't remember learning nothing in none of them classrooms. But look at the kind of memories. Those are the memories that real stand out for me in Newtown Boys and Thing Boy and in Fatima. And here I get some good trouble in school. You know. I don't ever think I was a bad youth. I don't like certain kind of trouble. I don't mind licks trouble, but not suspension trouble. So I remember a few times in Fatima, there a lady named Miss, I should call her name, boy? No, I can't even remember her name. That's good. I can't remember her name. That might be the best thing. I think it was Latchman, but I can't remember her name. But she was new. And it's this time I was in form 3. Form 3 or 4. So, you're a little bigger. I must 13, 14 them time. And she's a brand new teacher, boy. So, you're smelling, in them days, you're like a wolf, you're smelling blood on time. You know when to attack. And she used to be in her classroom, and I wasn't in her class. But all my boys and them was in that class. So I used to go in that class all the time. And she come in the class. And she teaching and this and that. But I talking in the back. I having a whole session down in the back there. We talking. And she say, young man. And I say, well, what happened, miss? I just talking to my partner here. What is your name? I like, Corey Shepard. She look on the roll now. She said, but you are not even listed in this class. You need to get out of this class. And I said, miss, what happened? Relax yourself. Relax. I say again, work it up. Now, you saying, them time I saying anything for a little laugh. I just want men to laugh. I'm disrespectful like hell. But my goal is not to disrespect. I really just trying to make people laugh. So she started saying, I turned my whole back and start back talking. And she say, young man, you need somebody to blow your trumpet. I turn around. I say, hey. And then I say, good loud for the whole class to get quiet. I say, hey. Only my girl could blow my trumpet. It's the most disrespectful thing. That woman fly out the classroom and go on looking for the principal. Them days must be a man named Tappin. From the time Tappin see me, is like Tappin in trying to talk. Tappin don't want to hear my side of the story or nothing. It blows immediately. And we had that thing we used to do too back then. Anytime a man get in trouble and they ask your name, if it's a teacher who don't know you, everybody used to say Colin Lawrence. That was a man. Colin Lawrence is a real fella, in the class with me. Everybody's just like Colin Lawrence. Once Colin Lawrence and I'm wrong, once he asks me my name, I am Colin Lawrence. So much, poor fella. He must be getting so much trouble on we have. But I know what it's right. It's just remembering school days and how, and I hope Zachary don't do them kind of things in school. I hope he go to school and learn and do, and I hope he don't listen to this episode neither. Stacey, just get him out if he listening to this at this point. But it's like, even them little things where you give trouble, and even that you get trouble, it have consequences for it in a classroom setting where you're not just answering to the teachers, you're answering to your peers. And like we had a dean in Fatima at time named Mr. Joseph. Was a fellow who, but me and Joseph couldn't get along at all. But a man named Jojo. Jojo, we used to wear like if you wear a bright yellow shirt, you have a bright yellow socks. You wear a green shirt, you have a green socks, and all the pants black. And I couldn't get along with Jojo at all, boy, because Jojo wasn't accepting my nonsense then. Jojo was putting his foot down. And there was a time in Form 5 where we given so much trouble that Jojo make a list. And he called a meeting at time. Fatima had a room called a parlor. And he called us, and it must be 20 away. And he say, here what's going on. You all determined to give trouble in this school, and I determined to eliminate trouble from this school. So you see, y'all are now officially known as the list. Anyone or all get in trouble, when I come and I call one all from my classroom, all get up and come. He says, so I'm going around to each class. We had 3, 4, 5 classes. So he used to go around to each class and he say, Corey Shepherd Bab. And when he called my name, all the other 19 men or everybody in trouble same time. It's like this, the whole squad. And it's like, yeah, that's the thing. Like, you're accountable to the teachers, you're accountable to your partners. Because now men vex. What he basically do is make me police myself. Men vex when they see anybody giving trouble and them kind of things. So it's like, how we going to account for that when we miss so much time? Like, we in late November now. Congrats to everybody for you almost survived 2020. We in late November, we in early November. We just had 2 months out of this 2020 to go, but it does seem as though, at least in Trinidad here, that these children going back out to school in January. And it's starting to make me wonder about the socialization of children. I was talking to Joel Julian about that too. Like, how these children developing if they not in close contact with their friends in school, and sometimes not in close contact with anybody, especially where we grew up in like when I grew up in St. James, you was close with the whole community, whereas when my son growing up now, he not close with the children in the community. He more to himself and on games and on the tablet and thing. So it make him wonder about the socialization. And then teenagers now, little young teenage love and thing. What's the situation with COVID? I mean, we kind of can't pick up nobody new and be tracking and them thing. Your school life done, your social life done. It's not like you can lime in the mall or lime in a restaurant and stuff. So, I mean, just a bunch of random thoughts, to be honest. But it really came out of me just looking at what is happening now. So I'm hoping that as we make some small changes to the opening back of the economy this week. Everybody was waiting on rollers and trying to see what he wearing and thing. Well, he come out fully shirt and tie down and jacket and everything. So I guess people were feeling like, a full reopening not coming. He not in relax mode. But he did relax some of the things because we were talking about cinemas last week, and now cinemas you could eat and drink. So I think I saw something saying that the cinemas have agreed and they want to open back up. He also gave restaurants to go ahead to open up and have in-house dining. They were always open, right? But only for takeaway. So they're going to have in-house dining. And with the in-house dining, I think they said 50% capacity is the max you could go. And no alcohol. Now, the no alcohol is a strange one. And let me say for me, I'm not going to no bar. Because when I drink, I read to hurt people. And it's better I stay home and protect myself from myself and protect people from me. Better I drink home. I don't hugging up people here already. So, but in a restaurant setting, I find that it's so, I would think it kind of easy to control, because when I go to a restaurant to eat, I don't do a whole lot of intermingling with the people on the other table. So it's not like when I drink, I start going to people's table and hugging them up and think I could, that manageable, I think. And I also think if you came to a restaurant with somebody, it was probably somebody you're familiar with and hugging up going on there already, maybe. But I suppose when you look at, using Trotters as the example, right? Because the owner of Trotters is one of the more vocal people in this thing. Trotters is a tricky one. Like, if you open restaurants and bar in Trotters, what's stopping people from going and watch Man U play or Real Madrid play a game there. You know, even if it's at 50% capacity, I could understand where they're coming from, because if we go out and watch a football game and we drinking and that kind of thing, the tendency will be goal score, you hug up people. I mean, those types of things, you could see them happening. So I understand where they're coming from, but from that standpoint. But where the restaurant owners are concerned, especially when most of your margin, most of the profit per item is made on the alcohol, that's where you're really making your money. So I think it will be tricky for them, but I'm glad to see that they were more or less happy to be open. They spoke to young Derek Chin's, who I don't know if I can't remember Derek Chin's son name, but he was saying the same thing, is a struggle without the alcohol and those types of things, but at least they're open, and I feel like it's a little bit of outlet. For me personally, I miss restaurants being open. I kind of like to go in a restaurant and sit down and eat something. Although even now, when I go there now and I had to take off my mask, I be so conscious of other people around me and stuff now. I hope this is not how we live for the rest of our lives now, but it's be a little nerve-wracking when you mask off and you're eating now and people come in kind of close, people. But at least that's done. But the bars still closed. And again, I understand the logic about alcohol and stuff, but I don't think it's enough for us as a society to just flippantly say, pivot, figure it out. Stop complaining, figure out what you have to do and where's your business. Because businesses, again, make the economy run. They make businesses run the society. And if we just allow a large portion of businesses to, I don't want to say fail, because some people have successfully pivoted and figured out how to do other things. Like a lot of party promoters doing little different things and making it happen. And kudos to them. But for the people who are invested in a business as a bar and things change, I would think that people need help. Not everybody could just get up and pivot and get up and get thing. I don't think it's that easy. So I could see where people best bet is to lobby the government and push them to give them the licenses to open. But I feel like there's the balance had to be found. In other words, are we still in a state where we have to make blanket decisions about our industry as a whole? Or can we say that bars open for X capacity, this, that, and if you break that regulation as an individual bar owner, we will at first shut you down for 2 weeks and cause you to close, and at second, take away your bar license. I don't know if those things are enough of a threat to get people, because I mean, we know some of the places where it could be a little bit of issues. If you look at how big a crowd could gather by a place like Nari's or a place like Frankie's on the Avenue, you could see where is an issue in terms of gathering and not separating or distancing yourself from people. But can we just let bars open and then say, okay, we're doing patrols, this, that, when 10 o'clock come, you're supposed to be closed. Like I remember talking about that when bars opened the first time. Police were on the road locking off people at 10. Can we do something like that and then say, hey, if you break these regulations, these are the penalties that are in place? Because the argument from the people who just believe that regardless of what happened, we just have to lock down whoever the government say lockdown. Their argument is that everywhere in the world is seeing these things, and look at England lockdown. But my thing is this. Everywhere in the world went through cycles of lockdown and release, right? And the WHO came out and said that lockdown shouldn't be used as the primary tool against spread of COVID. Now it's a tool, because once you stop us from congregating, we curb the spread a little bit. If for a little bit of time too, and manage the capacity of the healthcare system, I guess was what we're going for. But if that is the case, and that being proven over and over, what it's saying is that we will also have to go through phases of reopening and phases of lockdown. It's not like if we stay in lockdown for a longer period, COVID is going to go away. So if we just lock up everywhere for 6 months, let's just say nobody can leave the house for the next 6 months and we have 0 cases. Once we start to interact again, the cases will go up. At some point, we had to open the border. We have an airline to think about. I don't know if we just accepting that Caribbean Airlines will crash eventually. It seems to be that the people who believe that they should just lock down perpetually seem to be comfortable with the airline crashing and the hotels crashing and the bars crashing and everybody crashing. I feel like that's the sentiment because they don't own a bar, or they own a bar and they figure out how to pivot. So everybody else must figure that out. And if you ain't pivot, well, you ain't saying nothing and you deserve to fail. And I'm not sure that with what's happening with oil and gas now, like reading something about drilling for oil and gas and they find no gas at all and people have to make assessments. I'm not sure if this is the time to just say, hey, if you survive, you survive, and if you ain't survive, you ain't survive. Is a real awkward thing. But I mean, we'll see again because he said he given it another 2 weeks. And you know, my feeling was, and I guess they have to make these decisions based on what they see in the numbers in the healthcare system, right? Because I guess the dance we're trying to do is not to overwhelm the healthcare system or the parallel healthcare system, as they say. But what I feel would have been happening would have been that they would try to get bars open sometime now, because I cannot imagine that Christmas time would be the best time for bars to remain open. You know what I mean? And when Diwali done after this weekend, that's the best time for bars to be open. I don't know, because those would be times where people would, there's a spike in sales for bar owners, yes, but it's probably a spike in the amount of congregation that's going to happen and so on. So, I mean, we wait. I'm waiting to see what the next 2 weeks. I really starting to feel it for bar owners. I can't imagine what that is like having a bar and having staff to pay. I don't know if they still have staff or they had to send home the people. And I mean, the one thing I'm grateful for is nothing they're selling will spoil. So whenever they open, they can make back some of the money. But I mean, it's real hard. And I guess you could open now and people could buy alcohol and go. And I understand from somebody was telling me this week that they passed through a Remo. And although the bars, you could buy alcohol and go, what happened is, Trinidad, we buy the alcohol and we walk right across the road by the park and we lime there. But we as individuals had to take some responsibility for how we move, especially when the bars open. But I feel like if the bars feeling the pain or the pinch now is enough to stop them and make them put things in place that they do the right thing when they reopen. But what I'm saying is we can't just let it. We can't just let it languish. It's still a business and it's still a real person with real issues and bills to pay and all those things. And I don't see how we're not accepting that these things will affect the economy at large. But again, we have a 2 weeks, so let you wait and see. 2 weeks will take us to the middle of November. And when you reach the middle of November, coming down to the end, that's real liming time you're talking about, especially when people home. So let's see if they'll open bars then or what the case is looking like at that point. And we'll have some time to assess how the reopening of, the full back out to work for the public sector as well as the reopening of restaurants happening recently, reopening of casinos, reopening of the cinemas going to happen as well. I guess by that time, in 2 weeks' time, you're starting to see what it will do to our numbers overall and how we could adjust at that point. But I guess as much as the government calling for businesses or people in general calling for businesses to pivot, I think we as a society, the leaders, had to pivot too and figure out what's the best way for us to manage this virus in a country whose borders are closed for the longest while. And I mean, closed and porous, I suppose. We had to figure it out. Now, from an entertainment standpoint, I'll leave you with this, right? But y'all had a take in Yellow Cow TV. I know I talked about this before, but this quickly becoming my favorite show. You see Nadia Batson and Miss Alicia? It's in how much things funnier happening here locally. Two of them are funny. And listen, they talk about topics like mostly, like what I like to call like women issues. It's two women talking, right? And they have a lady named Lana who off camera who equally funny. And they just talk about random stuff. Like the other day they were saying like, is 45 minutes enough? It's like 45 minutes of love me. Well, I listening to them talking about this and I thinking, listen, number one, 45 minutes is not, we're not doing this. This is not, I don't know who them talking about and what age these people is, but and Lana off camera is talking about, well, if it's a quick thing, 45. And I'm thinking, What kind of quick thing you having at for? If quick thing is 45 minutes, what was it? Was it full show for her? And this is a good woman to stay away from. And they're talking about a second wrong, and it's like, listen, hold on. What is second wrongs? I know not that of which you speak. I will place. Do what you have to do now. They used to say, if you ain't coming, I come, you come and I come back. And I ain't coming back till next week. We don't play. No. Them days. A matter of fact, for me, them days was never there. So I don't know who them talking about. But listen, you had to watch it because it's a real opportunity to see a different side of artists too. Because Nadia Batson, I don't want to say like she have a good girl persona because I don't know if she deliberately doing that. Maybe it's just as fans in our mind or in my mind, you kind of box her into being a kind of good girl, ladylike, goody two shoes kind of thing. But boy, listen, Nadia and them as friends and their opinions. I'll hear now when Nadia cuss, it's sweet. It's sweet to hear she cuss. And I don't know who is editing the show because like they edit out somebody cussing, but somebody cusses fly. It's the greatest thing I see. But this week gone here, they had Nessa Preppy. I didn't realize that is what they were going to do. Like they were going to get guests on the show. But now I like it even more because you get to see their personality. And if they bring in more guests and more soca artists, something on is something else. But the way Nessa Preppy is my new hero. Nessa Preppy is as real as she don't care. If you know her or you follow her on Instagram, like a lot of people like to complain about Nessa Preppy, like how she talking and she ghetto and she don't care. She talking how she's talk and she as real as it gets. And it's just a nice show to watch. And it's short, it's tight. The whole thing is video, right? It's on YouTube. Just look up Yellow Cow TV and you'll see it, or follow them on Instagram. It is easily one of my favorite shows these days. I think it comes out every Saturday morning and it's published early too. So when I get up on a Saturday morning, that's one of the first things and you're bound to get a good laugh. But before I go, I'd give all that full song, because it's a lot. This whole episode went between the people who make call and say who. Imagine people say, I ain't racist, is patient on them. That lie. Trump say he win the election. That is lie. What again happened? I don't know. Mike Pence say he owned Pfizer. That is lie. I don't know. Well, I don't even know how to say lie. Devon Barrage, Vasant, Barrett, Kamla, but that'd be so. I don't want to double up on the lie talk. The alliteration is lie. Who again? There's a whole bunch of lies. So let me get this song and I will leave you there for the week. I don't keep to sing this one. I know some of you wouldn't believe me, but if you think I lie, ask my good friend Mackie. They had a big lion competition to see who would be crowned the lion champion. Liars from all parts of the West Indies, big shot liars from all them foreign countries. From a feel about 1,000 or so entries in 2 days, it boiled down and leave just 3. I had my eye on Liar the Lion, because he does come with some good ones. But they had a young fella named Debo, come from some village there in Tobago. He say he father is Tobago's best fisherman. He catch a fish a mile wide, 80 feet in span, and had to tie it on the boat and swim back to land to get his brother Eric to give him a hand. You hear lie? That is lie. Lie. You hear lie. Teacher Percy say if you tell a lie, you're going to hell as soon as you die. Teacher Percy say if you tell a lie, you're going to hell as soon as you die. Well, Lion the Lion, he laughed till he sweat. He say, Mr. Debo, you ain't saying nothing yet. If you really want to talk about fishing, let me blow your mind. Now listen to something. When you're talking about fish, you just hit the spot. I was hoping you did believe it or not. The fish your father caught to you was great, but it's them small fish my father does use for bait. Lion went ahead on points on the show, completely eliminated Mr. Debo. The next man to beat was Will the Outrageous. He asked the judges if he could lie first. The judges asked Lion, the Lion agree. Say any topic Will pick is alright with me. He outrageous, I strong, let we meet head on. And when we done, see who head fit to wear the crown. You hear lie? That is lie. Lie. You hear lie. Teacher Percy say if you tell a lie, you go into hell as soon as you die. Teacher Percy say if you tell a lie, you go into hell as soon as you die. The outrageous say he knew about a tailor. When come to making suit, the man is a master. He could see a man coming round a corner and make him a suit and don't even measure. And when you're talking about suit, sitting down correct, expertly made and fitting perfect. He used to sew for Shakespeare, make suit for Hamlet, and up to this day he ain't make a mistake yet. The crowd went wild, they couldn't cool down. I tell myself the lion losing the crown. The judges brought the crowd back to order and asked the lion to lie about a tailor. He say my man is the best, Rolfie is his name. Cutting cloth and making suit is his fame. Don't show him the man, my tailor is class. Just show him the corner where the fella pass, and he go make a suit. That is tailor. You hear lie, king liar. Teacher Percy say if you tell a lie, you go into hell as soon as you die. Donald Trump say if you tell a lie, you go into hell as soon as you die. Mike Pence say if you tell a lie, you go into hell as soon as you die. Alright, that's whole song gone off. As I call Mike Pence's name, everything gone. Everything gone clear. So I'll leave it all in there. I'll talk to you all next week. Have a good one.